Every time tensions rise in the Middle East, every time missiles are fired, every time a warship moves through a critical waterway, something happens thousands of miles away. Prices at your gas station creep up. Airlines announce fuel surcharges. Stock markets wobble. Grocery bills quietly increase. Most people never connect these dots. But the fear of war sends shockwaves through the entire global economy in ways that affect every single person on Earth. This is how war fears affect oil prices and global business. Chapter 1. Why oil is the blood of the global economy. Oil is not just fuel for cars, it is the raw material behind plastics, medicines, fertilizers, and thousands of everyday products. It powers the ships that carry global trade. It fuels the planes that move people and cargo. Every single thing you buy required oil at some point in its journey to reach you. And here is the critical problem. Oil does not come from everywhere equally. The Middle East, a region that has experienced almost continuous political tension for decades, sits on top of roughly half the world's proven oil reserves. Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, and the UAE collectively control an enormous portion of global supply. Whenever that region becomes unstable, the entire world holds its breath. Chapter 2. The fear premium. Here is something most people do not realize. Oil prices do not just respond to actual supply disruptions, they respond to the possibility of disruptions. This is called the fear premium. Extra cost built into the price of oil purely because traders are worried about what might happen next. Oil is traded on global markets by thousands of traders and hedge funds constantly trying to predict the future. The moment conflict breaks out anywhere near major oil infrastructure, those traders start buying oil contracts aggressively, not because supply has actually dropped, but because they believe it might drop soon. And all that buying pushes prices up immediately. This is why a single airstrike or a single threatening speech from a world leader can send oil prices jumping 5% within hours. The market is not reacting to reality, it is reacting to fear. In 2019, when drone attacks struck Saudi Arabia's Abqaiq oil facility, one of the most important oil installations on Earth, prices jumped nearly 15% in a single day, the largest single-day spike in history. Fear moved first. Facts came second. Chapter 3. The Strait of Hormuz. If you want to understand why war fears hit oil so hard, you need to know about the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway, just 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, sits between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula. Through this single choke point flows approximately 20% of all the oil traded in the entire world every single day. If that waterway were ever blocked by military action or mines, the consequences would be catastrophic almost immediately. Iran has threatened to close the strait multiple times during tensions with the United States. Every single time those threats are made, oil prices react instantly. Tanker insurance rates skyrocket. Shipping companies reroute vessels on far longer journeys. Nations quietly begin filling their emergency reserves just in case. The entire global economy lives with permanent anxiety about this one narrow strip of water. Chapter 4. How rising oil prices destroy everything else. When oil prices rise sharply due to war fears, the damage spreads outward into every corner of the global economy, like ripples from a stone dropped in water. First, transportation costs rise. Airlines pay more for jet fuel, typically 20 to 30% of their total costs, and immediately pass those costs on through higher ticket prices. Shipping companies raise freight rates. Trucking companies charge more per delivery. Everything that moves costs more to move. Then food prices rise. Modern agriculture is completely dependent on oil. Tractors run on diesel. Fertilizers are made from natural gas. Pesticides are oil derivatives. And all that food must be transported thousands of miles before reaching a consumer. When oil gets expensive, food gets expensive, and nobody can choose not to eat. Then manufacturing slows. Factories that use large amounts of energy, steel mills, chemical plants, cement producers, face dramatically higher costs. Some reduce production, some shut down temporarily. Finally, consumer confidence collapses. When people pay more at the gas station and more at the grocery store, they have less money for everything else. Spending on restaurants, travel, and retail falls. Businesses hire less. Sometimes they lay people off. A war happening thousands of miles away begins destroying jobs in countries that have nothing to do with the conflict. Chapter 5. Who actually wins? While most businesses suffer when war fears rise, not everyone loses. Conflict creates its own economy. Defense contractors see their stock prices surge the moment geopolitical tensions escalate. Companies manufacturing weapons, military equipment, and cybersecurity tools become suddenly more valuable when governments start worrying about war. Oil-producing nations benefit directly from higher prices. When Middle Eastern conflict pushes oil to $120 per barrel, American shale producers, Canadian oil operators, and Norwegian offshore platforms all become far more profitable. War in one part of the world subsidizes energy production in another. Gold surges during war fears as panicked investors flee to safe haven assets. Cybersecurity companies boom as governments and corporations rush to protect digital infrastructure against state-sponsored hacking that almost always accompanies modern conflict. Chapter 6. Real examples that changed the world. History is full of moments where war fears transformed the global economy overnight. The 1973 Arab oil embargo is the most famous. When OPEC cut off oil supplies to countries supporting Israel, prices quadrupled within months. The global economy collapsed into severe recession. Inflation surged across the Western world. Gas stations in America ran completely dry. It permanently changed how the world thought about energy dependence. The Gulf War in 1990 triggered another massive spike when Iraq invaded Kuwait. Within weeks, oil had doubled in price. Airlines collapsed. The global economy tipped into recession. The war lasted just 100 hours of ground combat, but its economic shockwaves lasted years. Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 showed how war can rewire energy markets even outside the Middle East. Russia was one of the world's largest energy exporters. When Western nations cut off Russian imports, European gas prices exploded to levels never seen before. Governments spent hundreds of billions subsidizing energy costs for ordinary citizens. A war in Eastern Europe sent heating bills soaring in homes across Germany, France, and Italy. Chapter 7. The world is changing, but not fast enough. The relationship between war, oil, and the global economy is slowly shifting. Renewable energy has given some countries partial protection against oil shocks. The United States shale revolution transformed America into the world's largest oil producer, creating far more energy independence than it had in 1973. Electric vehicles reduce exposure to gasoline prices for those who own them. But the fundamental reality has not changed. The global economy still runs overwhelmingly on oil. The most critical reserves are still concentrated in unstable regions. The most important shipping lanes still pass through dangerous choke points. And financial markets still react to fear faster than they react to facts. As long as these realities exist, every war, every threat of war, and every aggressive speech from the wrong leader will continue sending tremors through oil markets and rippling outward into the price of everything the world buys and sells. War is fought with weapons, but its first casualties are always economic. And those casualties are paid quietly and invisibly by ordinary people everywhere who simply wanted to fill their car, feed their family, and get on with their lives. The price of conflict is never just paid on the battlefield. It is paid at every gas station, every grocery store, and every business on Earth.